Welcome to another edition of It's Still Real to Me, Zaslow Show 2.0. Everything Zaslow Show 2.0, of course, is presented by our title sponsor, Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. If you're involved in any kind of accident, personal injury, you call 911 first, then you get an attorney on the phone immediately. Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. My pal Joey Levine here with me this morning. We got some things to catch up on as far as the world of pro wrestling. How are you today? You doing all right?
I'm doing great, but I'm like still, I gotta be honest, I'm still like a little hungover from Rumble. Like there's not physically, but like emotionally. Like
Are you just waiting all week like to get to last night, to get to Friday night, just so we can see what's going to happen next?
Yeah, you know what I felt like this week? You know, last week on the post show, on the reaction, I think I said like this was The Sopranos, this was The Wire. Like I compared it to great television. So like if Rumble was like the finale of like a great story, and this week was when you start a new series
season,
and you're like just building the characters and like establishing the storylines, it can be a little slow. You know it's coming, something great's coming, but like coming off of last weekend, this week was just a lot of build, which is fine.
When is Elimination Chamber?
It's in 2 weeks. It's in the 18th.
So we have Elimination Chamber in 2 weeks, and then we have a month and a half until WrestleMania. Is that what we're talking about?
I don't remember. I don't know exactly what the date is for Mania.
Well, I mean, WrestleMania is like, I think it's April 1 and April 2. But the point is, we don't have a show in March. That's what we're saying, right? So we have like a month and a half.
That's my understanding. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I think makes sense, because looking at what's going on right now, they're going to need time to build Cody and Roman to like get the crowd invested. It seems like they're going to need a little more time.
Well, we're going to do the whole, there is more than one royal family in wrestling. Like that's the main event, right? That's what we're doing, right?
Yeah, but because the crowd is so invested in what's going to happen at Chamber again, and I mean, we're going to talk about it. They're so invested in what's going to happen with Jay.
Yep.
Like the story is there. Cody's great. His promo on Raw was great, but like, it's almost like, how are we going to get the crowd to just not want to see Jay or Sami against Roman? Like, that's why I think the month and a half is probably good, because they're going to need some time, it feels like, because we're going to have to come down from all of this stuff that's been happening for months and then just jump into Cody, who's just came back.
So we'll get to that, obviously. SmackDown was last night. Joey and I, by the way, are going to Coastal Championship Wrestling tonight. We're going to CCW tonight in Hialeah, unbranded brewery. It'll be the second time I've seen those guys. It is a fun show. Obviously independent wrestling. I mean, we're starting, right from the ground floor, and it's really a lot of fun, So if you're looking for something to do tonight, 8 p.m., unbranded brewery in Hialeah, CCW. It's going to be a lot of fun. They got great food there, by the way, at unbranded brewery. I am looking forward to that pulled pork sandwich tonight. They got great brisket sandwiches. Obviously, they got a ton of beer there. I mean, it's a brewery. So unbranded brewery tonight, 8 p.m. CCW. They're there for Bash at the Brew, the first Saturday of every month. So tonight,
that's awesome.
We're headed down there, and we're going to get into a little bit of that a little later on in the show today. So we're going to have some fun with that, but I'm looking forward to seeing those guys tonight. CCW, a lot of fun if you're looking for some good local pro wrestling. You've never been before, right?
I've never been, and hey, CCW may have the best part of AEW this week tonight with the QT Marshall Open Challenge. So.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, those guys are doing a really good job. So we'll get back to that. We're going to get to more of that. So let's start off with some of the big news and notes from Raw. Cody Rhodes opens Raw. We were wondering what opens Raw the last time we talked. It was either going to be Cody or it was going to be Rhea Ripley. Okay, it had to be one of the Royal Rumble winners. It's Cody. He opened with, I thought, was a great promo. And this was important because I think all eyes were not even necessarily on Cody. I think all eyes were, how is he going to be received by the crowd? All right. Because everybody wants Sami and Roman. Everybody wants what's next in the bloodline story, because Cody is setting up a match that is 2 months away. So it's important. What's the crowd reaction going to be? And I thought the crowd reaction was very favorable. I thought it was a really good sign.
Yeah, they love him. I mean, I still, the more I think about Rumble, the more I think you're right that the reaction would be even more favorable if his comeback was a surprise. Like if he would have been a surprise at 30 and we didn't know, and then Raw after Rumble was only the second time we had like.
God, I really think they blew that.
You know what I mean? Like if we hadn't heard him speak in 6 months and he showed up to Rumble, we still hadn't heard him speak. Then he wins Rumble. Then he comes out on Raw. Oh man, that place loses their mind. But
I really think they blew. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand what the thinking was there.
Yeah, but that being said, the crowd loves him.
Well, you know what also helps, Joey? The last time we saw him before Rumble, he wrestled a great match with an ugly torn pec. And so I think there's a lot of respect there. You know, I don't think it's like, all right, he's just been handed, he's the handpicked guy. Like, I think there's a lot of respect coming from the crowd for what he did, as there should be.
Yeah. I also think it's really hard, and we know this obviously because it's rare. It's really hard to find a guy who you feel like could be a sustained popular babyface. Like it's just hard. Like eventually people get sick of those guys. I think Cody could be this guy for the rest of his time in WWE and people are going to like him because he just feels his character feels like him. There's no gimmick here.
Well, then what's the difference between him and WWE and him and AEW? Because man, like all of us turned on him with that same character. I turned on him in AEW. I did.
Always love Cody. But I think there was a point in AEW clearly where he saw where the direction was going and his gimmick, he just kind of like was out of it. You know what I mean? Like there was a point in AEW.
Like maybe did the crowd resent that he's an executive, that kind of deal? Like did that play a role, you think? Or is it that no one can stand that Brandy Rhodes? I can't stand her.
That might be it. Or maybe it was his neck tattoo. When he got the neck tattoo, people started to lose it a little bit for him. But I don't know. I think part of it was, well, there was definitely a concern. I would say that a lot of what he was doing early on was he was the TNT champion and he was just beating young guys. And it seemed like maybe that was like him not, there's a huge misconception, I think, with wrestling fans where it's like, if an established wrestler beats a young guy, he's burying him. Right. And I think when Cody was the TNT champion early on, it was just him just beating young guys. He had his open challenge where guys would come off the indies.
Against that. Like if you're on television, you're not being buried. You know? If you're only now, I know AEW doesn't have house shows yet, but so WWE is an example. If you're only fighting on house shows, then you've been buried.
Yeah.
If you're on television, you're not being buried.
Yeah. And maybe you're right. And I think it was something to him being like in AEW, he was the establishment, right? He built the company. He came out in the suits.
I think that
he was one of the bosses and people were like, oh, this is you're booking you're booking yourself to go over.
I think
that
could be part of it.
That could be part of it.
Yeah.
And now there's in WWE, there's not only the last time we saw him injured with the injured pec, but there's also just like this guy who got buried for like the first 10 years of his career is their conquering hero. He comes back and now he's at the top.
He's our guy. There's like for me, I didn't like him in AEW, but I like him now in WWE because it's kind of like he's our guy.
Well, it's also the reason why. Look, and I feel so. I'm the opposite with like Moxley. I don't like Moxley anymore. I'm just over it. But AEW fans are obsessed with.
You're
Moxley.
Not into him bleeding every single time we see him.
I'm not into him coming down from the crowd like he's still in the Shield. I'm not into him bringing his dad out because he's in his hometown.
That was weird. I thought that was weird.
But we'll talk about that. But I think AEW fans are still like absolutely obsessed with Moxley because Moxley's the guy who left WWE to come to AEW, and he was the first one and he was the biggest one.
Yeah. And
I think we're getting a little bit of that with Cody, where it's like if you're a hardcore WWE fan, you're like, hell yeah, screw that company. You're our guy now.
I think there is some of that. Yeah. I think there is some of that. So Cody's promo was great, but I thought the most important thing by far was the crowd reaction. Crowd reaction was very favorable. Now we'll see we got 2 months of build toward WrestleMania, depending on what happens with Roman and Sami, who's not going to take the belt off him. But depending on what happens with Roman and Sami, I don't know. Like, things could change. We got a lot. 2 months is so much time. I mean, look, the Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 stuff, I don't know. Were they planning 2 months ahead of putting Daniel Bryan into the main event of that show? Like, probably not. 2 months is a lot.
I remember that build. That build genuinely felt like they were like behind the scenes. They were trying everything they could do to not have him. I felt like that was real life.
Yeah,
Vince probably or somebody didn't want him, and then the crowd was just so hot for him they had to put him in there.
Yeah, so a lot can happen over the next 2 months. What they're going to decide to do, we'll see. But I thought Monday was a good sign for the direction that they want to go. The other huge story, of course, probably took a lot of people by surprise. It took me by surprise as well. Rhea Ripley comes out. I thought she was fantastic on the mic. I thought she was great. And she goes with Charlotte. She cuts a fire promo on Charlotte Flair. You get the whole, hey, Charlotte won Royal Rumble. She comes after Rhea's title and beats her. Rhea wins the Royal Rumble. She's now coming after Charlotte's title. And I think we all thought she was going to go after Bianca because Bianca is so like white meat babyface right now. And Rhea, easy way to make Rhea, keep Rhea the bad guy, even though she's becoming super popular. But they're going in the other direction. And you know what? I always thought we were going to get Becky and Charlotte at WrestleMania. Clearly, we're not. But if you want Rhea to be a huge star, yeah, you put her in the ring with Charlotte. That's how you do it.
Yeah, that was my takeaway, is that if they see her as like a star, you could put her against Bianca. If they see her as one of the best ever, which she maybe could be,
then you got to beat Charlotte.
Or you just have her in a match main eventing Mania against Charlotte. Like, even if she loses, which I don't think, it feels like it would be weird for her to lose, but I don't know. You never know. But no matter what, just the fact that she's getting this match with Charlotte shows that the company is ready for her to be in the top spot or number 2.
And it also shows you, it also adds another layer as to why they took the belt off of Ronda. Because they're trying to get Rhea to the very top. And you do that by having her at least in the ring, but probably beat Charlotte at WrestleMania. So that
if
makes
Ronda has the belt, Rhea is probably fighting Bianca.
So what does it mean for Bianca then for WrestleMania? So Bianca is going to face the winner of the Elimination Chamber. All right, but so who is the most reasonable?
It has to be Asuka. It has to be Asuka. Has to be new Asuka. Can't be anyone else that's in that match. Now, I think your girl Piper Niven's going to be the last one. There's a fatal 4-way on Raw for the last spot.
Oh, that's funny that you're saying that because I don't think Piper Niven's going to win that.
Who do you think?
I hope she does. I think Mia Yim is going to win it.
Okay, well then she's definitely not going to be in a title shot at Mania. So it's either Raquel Rodriguez or.
I mean, look, I'm a big fan of Piper Niven. I hope Piper Niven's in it.
But realistically, looking at that match, it can't be anybody. Because Piper Niven, I guess, could win that match, maybe. But realistically, looking at the other 5 that are in the match, it can't be anyone other than Raquel. And Raquel makes sense because she's a big powerhouse, and so is Bianca.
Yeah, but then you got two
Asuka.
Straight up baby faces.
Asuka has history. Asuka has history with Bianca. They had the whole thing with damage control, and then, the last thing Asuka did was literally team with Bianca, and then she turned heel. Now
and I think you're right. If they're going to make over a major character makeover with Asuka, which, by the way, you got the backstage segment, and she doesn't have face paint in the backstage, which they are all in on new character with Asuka, which I think is super, super cool.
She bites down on the capsules of whatever's in her mouth.
Because everyone loves Asuka. Everyone loves Asuka. So I'm really into what they're doing with her now. If you're going to dedicate yourself to this new character, essentially, and I know the new character is essentially like the old character, what she was called, Kana, right? Way back in the day. So if you're going to do this, then you go babyface Bianca Belair and let's go full in Asuka heel with this new character. She's going to be nasty in the lead up. And she's going to try and make everybody hate her. This is very clearly the way to go. Yeah.
Yeah. And they need they need something entertaining for the lead up with Bianca. It's just stale. It's just stale, and like there's 2 months. Well, there'll be a month and a half after Chamber.
Yeah, Asuka can do it.
Who else in this match can just go toe to toe with Bianca and make it entertaining enough to carry it through a month and a half? It's sure as hell. I mean, Nikki Cross is great, but I just don't see her main eventing Mania.
The only other option is Raquel Rodriguez, but I don't
Morgan's
like babyface.
Liv Morgan's not even on Raw. She's in the match. Raquel Rodriguez, but yeah, I just Asuka makes the most sense because she's like insane. But then again, now that's back-to-back feuds for Bianca with an insane person who's kind of like, what's going on with her? Because she's coming off of.
We didn't see Alexa Bliss this week, right?
Alexa Bliss. Yeah, she's coming up.
No,
right? Just in the package where they recapped. I think I saw her. I think they showed her in like a recap thing from Rumble, but she wasn't on the show. But Bianca wasn't on either.
So
was she? Was Bianca on? Because I think during the show they teased that she was there, and then maybe they cut that segment because I don't remember her being on the show.
Yeah,
but I remember in the show them saying like Bianca Belair is here tonight. I think I don't know. Maybe I'm remembering that wrong. But
so we're getting Bayley versus Becky in Orlando on Monday night in the cage, right? They had to go back to it. You had to get some kind of payoff there. So we're getting Bayley versus Becky in the steel cage to finally main event Raw on Monday, right?
I think it's gonna be Bayley Becky at Mania. I think they're gonna leave. I think this thing stretches out. I don't see what else either of them does.
Yeah, well, like what else can Becky have? I always thought it was gonna be Becky and Charlotte. I mean, can we get Becky and Ronda? Like Ronda Rousey's going to be at WrestleMania, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be Ronda and Shayna versus Io and Dakota for the tag titles.
So but no baby faces there. We're just doing heel versus heel.
Okay, so I wanted to talk about this. It feels like Damage Control may be becoming the face. Like maybe there's a shift happening because, first of all, I know the stuff that Bayley said to Becky was heel stuff.
Hey, I mean, it's talking about your husband wants me.
But she dominated Becky, like absolutely dominated Becky in this segment. But then the end of the segment, what Becky did to get her way was a heel move.
What did she do?
She went in the back, got Dakota Kai, and threatened to hurt her so that Bayley would give her match. That's not what a face does. That's what a heel does. It felt like there's some type of shift happening. I don't know.
Even though Becky's like the man character, though, is kind of anti-establishment.
She is, but that felt more heelish than what I remember. Okay. And I don't know. I could be wrong. It just struck me as like, this isn't what, like, if you're the man and you're a face, you just say we're fighting and that's it. Like you're fighting me.
Okay, but if they stretch Bayley versus Becky to WrestleMania, what comes after a steel cage match?
Hell in a Cell, Iron Man match. I don't know, so like Iron Man match.
All right,
Iron Woman match.
I mean, because it's got to be something. It has to be something big.
Cheetos. Like.
A Cheetos fire match, fire match where Anthony Edwards, because we learned that Anthony Edwards eats 3 packs of the hot fries a day.
Flaming Hot Cheetos Inferno match.
Yeah, that's right. Anthony Edwards is the timekeeper. And
by the way, I have a tease because in Big Dirt, not Big Dirt, I have something involving sponsored matches that is
okay.
If it's the truth, it's wild.
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, I could see in like an Iron Man match or a strap match, something where like Bayley's running from Becky and they do like a strap, like a dog collar match where they can't get, I don't know. There's a million gimmicks, but that's why I was asking you last week, like, could they hypothetically do the two of them in the Elimination Chamber cage just as a one-on-one match?
Nah.
Because it's kind of like Hell in a Cell, Probably not, but I don't know.
So that's
I just don't know what else. I mean, there's so long though. Again, there's just so much time. I guess anything could happen. Maybe Becky gets her own faction and they do like a triple threat. I mean, a 3-on-3 tag. So, I don't know.
So we had a couple returns on Monday. Number one, Rick Boogs is so jacked.
Ooh.
He's so jacked. He is enormous, man.
Yeah. I think one of my favorite terms might be when they say he's booging out.
So Rick Boogs is back, and I was really happy to see Carmella back as well.
Who isn't?
She changed her hair. I think she looks fantastic. And I like that she's back to, so she's no longer, the goddess of WWE or whatever, like the most beautiful woman in WWE. She's back to being Mela is Money, which I think is by far is the best version of her. So yeah, I'm glad that Carmella's back. She's a lot of fun. Yep. So you get those two returned there. Otherwise, the gist of Raw was Rhea, Cody, and figuring out what's going on with the Elimination Chamber with the women there. And I think, I think you're probably right about Asuka.
And the men, right? Now we have 4 guys in the men's chamber for the U.S. title. We got Theory, Rollins, Gargano, and Bronson Reed.
And so you got 2 more spots, which I think, so we got Dawkins versus Priest and Elias versus Montez Ford. Montez Ford is getting in that Elimination Chamber, and I think Priest is going to also. All right.
So really? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be Dawkins. I think this is how we break up the Street Profits.
But the way that I set it up there as well can also break up the Street Profits, where now you got Montez Ford kind of on his own in the chamber, Sure. I think it works both ways. But here's something interesting. I don't know if you saw this. Last night was the skills competition here, the All-Star NHL in Sunrise. All right. The skills competition was here. A couple of the judges were the Street Profits.
Really?
The Street Profits were at the skills competition, and they were judges in one of the contests. Okay. So great. They're getting a lot of exposure. But there was one moment where Emily Kaplan from ESPN is like, she's got the microphone in front of the Street Profits face and talking to them. And Montez Ford apparently at one point made a point of being the leader of the Street Profits.
He said that?
Yes.
Oh.
And got a weird look from Angelo Dawkins.
Huh.
So I think that's the start of the schism here.
Interesting time to do it, but
ESPN, man, leading up to WrestleMania, it's a perfect time.
Yeah, but who's watching the hockey also?
I don't know.
Who's watching that?
I don't know. But yeah,
or maybe that was a test to see how they did it, and they'll do it again.
So yeah, I think they planted a pretty fat seed on ESPN there last night.
Okay, I like it. Hey, I've been calling for the Dawkins heel turn for a while now. I've been calling for that for a while, and it's going to be good because I like Dawkins. And Montez Ford could be good. They just need look, they're going to strap a rocket to Montez Ford because him and Bianca's show is coming out soon. Oh, right.
They got that reality show coming out on Hulu. They're going, Montez Ford is going to be a major focus for them.
Sure. Right.
That's for sure.
Right. Yep.
So that's what I got on Raw.
Well, it feels like, so I liked that Cody did his thing, and then Judgment Day comes out, and Dominic gives him the whole my family, your he even said Dusty, none of your family's here, your brother or your dad. He said that's and then it feels like, doesn't it feel like to you, because Edge came out at the end of that and Beth came out at the end, it feels like we're gonna get something like a Cody, Edge, and Beth versus the Bloodline at Chamber. That feels like where we're headed, because it feels like they're kind of like.
Oh, you think we're gonna get Cody in the ring at Chamber? I don't think so.
In a tag, yeah.
Yeah, you think so?
Well, he fought Finn Balor. Edge keeps helping him out. Beth keeps helping out.
That's true. It's not like they're keeping Cody out of the ring. I mean, he fought. He's been fighting Finn Balor. TV.
He has that, connection to Finn Balor. So I don't know if you saw this, but when Cody won, it's so cool the way they do this. And because of social media, these things keep getting brought back.
Yeah.
When Cody won, when he was standing on the turnbuckle, he went like this. And then he went like
I didn't see that.
And then he went like that, like Bullet Club and like this thing. And then in the backstage, when whoever was interviewing him, Finn Balor, said, was asking him about Cody, Finn Balor goes, "This is mine and this is mine."
Oh, okay. All right.
So they're doing callbacks to Bullet Club, and because they both have been members of it at separate times. So there is a history there. So I could see them. I mean, again, Cody has to do something for the next few weeks until he's able to clearly get with Roman. So Bloodline is perfect for that.
So I want to start off here with SmackDown.
By the way, for the people who don't watch this on video, and only they have no idea what I just did. I should reference.
He did a lot of gang signs.
Yeah, Cody did the too sweet, and he held up the gun, like the finger guns, like Bullet Club. So just so people, because I just realized I'm doing all this shit to you on video, and people are like, "What the hell is he talking about?" Too sweet, Bullet Club.
So I want to start with Charlotte on SmackDown. All right, Charlotte and Sonya. I love that Sonya's getting shine. And it was a good match. It wasn't like a squash, which I feel is what they normally do with Sonya. I think Sonya is so great. So I like that we got a good match out of it. She taps out to the figure eight, obviously. But here's my question. Are we buying Charlotte as a babyface, man? Because, like, they are trying hard. She's just such a natural heel. She's clearly trying to be babyface. She's playing to the crowd. She's smiling a lot more. Especially during matches. She's not getting aggravated during the matches anymore. Now she's smiling a lot more. She's into it now. She wants the crowd behind her. Are we buying Charlotte as a babyface here? And clearly leading up to WrestleMania, she's going to be the babyface because Rhea is, even though we love her, Rhea's absolutely the heel here. Rhea's not going to be babyface, all right? Are we buying Charlotte as babyface here? Because, man, she's just so natural the other way.
Yeah, I mean... No, I think everybody agrees that she's genuine, like that she's better as a heel. But yeah, you're right. Like she has to be the face here.
Yep.
Or neither of them is a face or a heel, and it's just the two best women's wrestlers in the company facing each other.
Yeah, you know, but they're trying. Like they're clearly it's a new character or a new attitude with Charlotte. She's not getting in there on the mic and chastising anyone anymore.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see as we get, since there is 2 months, is whether it's Charlotte or it's Rhea, you're going to get like that Cena kind of reaction for both of them, where you're going to get boos and you're going to get cheers.
Half
for both.
The crowds are going to cheer. Hey, let's go Charlotte. Let's go Rhea. That's what we're gonna do.
Or just like people are going to boo Charlotte because they just don't like her, and people are going to cheer her because they know they're supposed to cheer her, and people are going to boo Rhea because that's what you're supposed to do. But then there's going to be the people who love Rhea and they're just going to cheer for her.
I'll tell you, you know what I like?
It's going to be a lot of split, I think.
You know what I like? The fact that Rhea's on Raw, Charlotte's on SmackDown, and we don't have to put them in a ring together for a while. Like there could be some really good build there. Yeah. Well, but Roman bounces from one show to the next every now and then.
It feels like, but he didn't this week. It seems like maybe that's going to be less for the next few, at least for a little bit.
Keep them away from each other. Keep away from each other. I like that.
He was bouncing because of the Kevin Owens stuff, right? Like a lot of the time.
And also he should bounce because he's got both titles.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
you know.
That's fair. Yeah.
But I like the idea of keeping them separate because I'm thinking to myself, hey, when we get that face to face of Charlotte versus Rhea, that shit's going to be pretty awesome. And guess what? We don't have to do it for a really long time, so it can build and build, and then. Just like Charlotte's doing her thing in the ring, she's on the microphone, and then boom, we hear Rhea Ripley's music hit, and it's like, oh shit, it is on now, and we're seeing it for the first time, and like it's March, you know, we haven't even gotten it yet. That's pretty cool.
I would imagine that's going to be the SmackDown after Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, maybe.
Right. I mean,
you got to start setting it up.
Well, we got to do something with Rhea and Beth Phoenix, whether it's with the others or it's just them. They got to do something at Chamber, you'd think.
You got an idea what's going on with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy?
I guess they're friends again. I don't know. You saw that vignette that they showed. You saw.
Bray was watching game film, right?
Yeah, he was watching the tape back.
Yeah,
just making sure.
Study.
Well, he's probably what he wanted to do was he was probably trying to show Uncle Howdy how badly he missed the spot.
Yeah. And
that's why Uncle Howdy's so aggressively.
It's like, here, Uncle Howdy, see right here, you made me look like an asshole.
And that's why Uncle Howdy was like, hold on. You think you're in control? I don't know. I have, dude, man, I just don't know.
Lost some steam.
And
so we didn't get LA Knight this week either, which I think is okay because, he died in an inferno. So you got to keep.
But I will say,
a couple weeks.
I fear that we have not seen the last of Bray Wyatt and LA Knight. I don't think it's over. Yeah, I fear that. I want LA Knight to do something else. I'm over Bray. I just
did not take long. I'm telling you, man. I hear you. You know where I stand on Bray Wyatt.
This thing. I don't know.
Have you ever not been disappointed at the end of a Bray Wyatt story? Have you ever not been disappointed?
Yeah, but you know what? I will say this. You're right. But in the past, I thought it wasn't his fault. I thought it was the people that were in control's fault. And now I'm starting to get on board with you that it's it might just be his fault.
Like, I remember I went to WrestleMania 33, and I remember I was so into the Bray Wyatt Randy Orton angle. I thought it was good, and Randy Orton burning down the house, and I'm coming for you, Bray. I'm coming for your title. And like, I thought the whole buildup was really cool. And I don't know, the match at WrestleMania, and they had like the holograms in the ring or something. It's hard to tell I was there. And it was a stinker. Like, it wasn't good.
Didn't they? Was that? Yeah, that hologram in the ring thing that was like the worms, right?
Yeah, like cockroaches, worms, something.
Yeah, it was so. Yeah,
it wasn't good.
But you know what? I think I would have rather had that than the Mountain Dew pitch black neon lights out match.
What about the Jack in the Box and the Fiend at WrestleMania WrestleMania 30?
But can I tell you, the COVID WrestleMania, the thing that he did with John Cena, I actually thought that was one of the best things I've ever seen. I loved that. I actually, you know what?
A Firefly Funhouse match.
Yeah, but where they were like going back through the history of Cena, and when Bray Wyatt did like the Nikki Bella dance, and then he did the Muscle Man. He was like, remember his Muscle Man character? That guy was pretty funny.
Husky Harris, right?
No. He had a character as Bray Wyatt where he wears like Zubaz pants and like a headband, and he's like, put on the pants, and do the Muscle Man dance.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was funny. This is how you save Bray Wyatt. Only cinematic matches.
Well, that's not good.
Only pre-produced cinematic matches.
Well,
put him in a boneyard. Put him in a Firefly Funhouse. Put him wherever you got to put him. Put him in a burning building. I think wasn't there during COVID, or was it COVID when the Street Profits were in a match where they were like running through a haunted house? Yeah, do that. Like, give me that. Give me Bray there, but stop giving me Bray with neon lights.
So the whole build up on Smack, the only thing that matters on Smack, Braun and Ricochet, number one contenders, they're going to fight the Usos maybe next week. Maybe they're going to fight the Usos.
Some version. Well, they will fight Usos, but maybe it's not the two Usos we're thinking of. But there is another Uso, right?
The whole build up is to
the NASCAR race with Ray and Dominic.
The whole buildup is going to be to what happens at the end of the show. So they decided to close the show. They got backstage segments with Roman lashing out at Solo, at Jimmy, and then once Roman says the wise man got the bus catered and I'm going out on my own. Oh, it's on. Now something's going down tonight. Now it's on. All right. I was surprised that we got Sami on the show because I figured we're not going to see Sami for a couple of weeks. But no, the angle that we're going to go is we're not going to see KO for a couple of weeks, and we're not going to see Jey Uso for a couple of weeks. Sami is right back in the fold, which I guess I didn't realize Elimination Chamber is only 2 weeks away. So Sami can't exactly disappear. We probably won't see KO again until Elimination Chamber, right?
Come out to help him, maybe.
Yeah.
And that'll be a huge pop. That'll be a huge pop, too.
Well, shit. How about the pop last night Montreal for Sami? How about the pop last night when Sami runs in the ring and starts beating up Roman? I thought it was really well done. Sami on the mic, Roman, I'm coming for your titles. And I never wanted anything from you until right now. Look, it was fun, man. And I can't wait for Elimination Chamber because I know there's a lot of people. And look, Sami's not beating him, but I know there's a lot of people who wanted it at WrestleMania. I got news for you. The crowd in Montreal is going to be just as hot as the crowd at WrestleMania would have been for that match. I guarantee it. Yeah.
Better.
Guarantee.
Like, WrestleMania is great. You've been, I've been. The crowds are great. It's a long show, though, right? And it's like it's 2 nights, so I guess it's different now.
Nah, but still, by the time you get to that main event on either night, you're a little bit tired.
Right. And it doesn't matter. Elimination Chamber could be 12 hours. When Sami Zayn comes out, the Montreal crowd is going to lose their mind.
So good.
They're going to blow the roof off. That being said, is it just me? Like, do I have a short attention span? Am I the problem that all of a sudden now I'm just more interested in Jey? Like, the Jey storyline is what's captivating
I think
me
that's
right now.
the beauty of this story is it's not just one guy you're focused on. you could come up with a reason to be interested in each character.
Yeah.
Each character's got their own thing going on, and you don't know what. Like, it's not like Solo and Jimmy are just henchmen for Roman. I don't know what Solo's thinking. What's going on in his head?
What is going on in his head?
Jimmy, is Jimmy going to side with his actual brother Jay, or is he going to side with Roman? Whatever winds up happening, like there's you can look at any character involved in this story and be interested in it. That's the great part of this.
Yeah. It must be Jay. They must be headed towards Jay and Roman at SummerSlam or something.
God, I hope we're getting Jay and Roman. Jay's out. Jay, unless he's fooling everyone, because Jay put on Instagram, I'm out.
I read something. The DUI situation in Montreal may be a reason why the Usos might not be at the show.
Well, Jimmy was the one DUI.
Right, but you're not going to have one without
country
or into the country.
Yeah,
because of his past. I read something along the lines of like they're more serious about that type of offense.
Okay,
and there may be issues, and maybe that's how they're keeping him off because they're just not going to have the Usos at the show, something like that. So maybe that's why maybe we really won't see Jay until after Elimination Chamber, and maybe my thought comes true and we see Jimmy and Solo defend the titles.
Dude, I watch like last night, and you got Roman yelling at Sami in the corner, not on the microphone, so only the television can pick it up. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't believe this is the same guy, who was in the ring with John Cena. What are we talking? 4 years ago, whatever it was, who just, couldn't handle a microphone.
No, it's amazing.
I can't believe it's the same guy. I can't believe it.
And the backstage, even just the backstage segment.
Yeah.
The way he carries himself, the way he talks, like the pregnant pauses that he does, the facial expressions, everything.
He's all time, man. He really is. He is all time.
And it's like, I know that people really want Sami to beat Roman, but you know what? Like, Sami's incredible, but it is hard to be the champion and continue to be entertaining as champion.
But also, dude, when's the last time Sami won a big match? Like, you can't be the undisputed champion. When's the last time he won a big match? I love Sami, but when's the last time he won a big match?
Yeah,
he's gonna be a believable undisputed champion.
That's true. It's a good point.
Yeah.
I
mean, Cody Rhodes fights Seth Rollins every other week, beats him every time.
That's true.
I got a couple things for you from AEW Dynamite. First thing I want to make, I want to get your thoughts on. So we got Moxley and Page again, which is great. Moxley always with the bleeding, and comes down to the ring with his father, who I don't know, like, does his father not want to be there? He didn't look very happy with anything that was going on.
Well, also Justin Roberts goes, John Moxley joined by his father, and they cut to a shot of him and Wheeler Yuta. So I'm thinking, what, Wheeler Yuta's his dad? What's happening here? It was very strange.
Here's a strange thing, though, about the match. We just dropped the whole concussion angle. Like, they didn't make any note of any of that. Remember, and the reason I thought about it was because, remember, I made a big stink about it because I didn't like it after the DeMar Hamlin
Maybe they heard
situation.
you, and they were like, oh, Zaz doesn't like this, so we're going to scrap it.
Like, they totally dropped it. That's weird, I thought.
And why did Hangman win? Like, I thought the whole story was Moxley put him out of commission. Hangman comes back, puts Moxley out of commission. Moxley's out for a while. Boom, we're good. It's almost like Tony Khan cares so much about guys getting wins in their hometowns that he's like,
oh, that is their thing. They do love that.
I got to give Moxley a win in his hometown. His dad's there. Got to give him a win. So I guess they're just going to keep going with it. But the match is cool. Like, I could watch these guys fight. They have cool matches, but I just don't get it from a storyline. What's happening there? Now,
very clearly, you are going to be right about the Acclaimed and the Guns. All right. Because at the end of the match, the end of the segment, Billy Gunn, it was weird where he gives his kids call him out. He comes back to the ring. You're an absentee father. And then he gives the Guns exactly what they want, which is a title match. And the Acclaimed are left in the ring like, Who the fuck was that? You know?
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
but here's my thing. So Billy's gonna go back to his sons, but you're telling me that the Guns are gonna be the tag champs? Like that's kind of weird, right?
I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen.
Okay.
I mean, eventually, probably, right? But I don't know. I don't know that anyone's really better off in this scenario, if I'm being honest. Like, the Guns are really good as sniveling heels right now who are mad that their daddy's gone.
Yeah.
And the Acclaimed, as good as the Acclaimed have been, they're really only as over as they are right now because of Scissor Me Daddy Ass.
Well,
like,
so maybe it'll go on for a little while. Maybe the turn won't
Yeah.
happen next week. Maybe
it'll
go on.
I love the Acclaimed. I think they're really good, but
Yeah.
I fear for like a huge decline if they lose this Billy Gunn gimmick, because this is what has really propelled them over the last few months.
What do you think is next with Jade Cargill? Jade Cargill's 50-0 now. But we're in that place where
Isn't it supposed to be? This is supposed to be a big deal? I didn't know she was 49-0. They didn't promote it during the show. Didn't know she was 49-0 until she came out. And then when she won, they just showed a graphic on the Tron, and that was it.
It should be a big deal. And here's my problem with it, man.
I think Red Velvet's going to beat her, and it's going to be really underwhelming.
God, I hope not. I
think it's going to be really underwhelming.
That's super underwhelming. And to avoid it being underwhelming, whoever beats her, like I told you, it can't be with her as the TBS champion. It's a secondary belt. My idea was she's 50-0 now. Great. I got to drop this belt. I'm ready to challenge for the big belt. I think Jamie Hayter, as champion, should be the one to beat her at 50-0. Jade's got to drop that belt. Or hell, look, she could still have the belt and say, now I also want that one. You can do it like that if you want. But she's because you can't have her lose to someone who's going after the secondary belt, because the only competitors you're getting, and there's nothing wrong with it, but the only competitors you're getting are women like Red Velvet. It needs to be someone huge. You know what it'll be like? It'll be like if the Undertaker's WrestleMania streak ended in an Intercontinental title match. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Like that. It can't be for that.
Well, let me pose this, which maybe I've posed this on the show before, but I don't know. And maybe we never got to it. There is one person who could beat her for the TBS title that the crowd would get behind, who has been one of the hottest women's wrestlers in the company. That it was right there. They could have put her there. And then all of a sudden now she's not on TV all week. It's Willow Nightingale. She was the one. You're telling me you got the jacked athletic freak, and then you got Willow Nightingale, who's super friendly, positive, not the most athletic looking, but is obviously great in the ring and the crowd loves her. You're telling me you wouldn't get behind that storyline? That would have been cool. But now it still could happen. But like for the last month, Willow Nightingale was on like every episode. She had that bloody match, that tag match.
She almost killed Anna Jay. Was it Anna Jay?
Right, yeah.
She almost murdered her. Maybe Willow Nightingale's in prison for attempted murder.
Maybe she's in prison. That's true. But Ruby Soho was on TV this week. We got to have Ruby Soho. We can't have the young up-and-coming talent of Willow Nightingale, who everyone loves. We got to have Ruby Soho. So this is it's probably a problem that AEW doesn't have enough time every week to get all these people in, but Willow Nightingale was hot, and now she's not on the show. So I don't know.
Yo, can I tell you the main event, Samoa Joe? I like that Joe won the title back, but yeah, why not? Look, that title is going to change hands, man. It's a TV title,
Right,
it
true.
should be defended often. So that title is going to change hands, and I certainly don't like the idea of Darby Allin beating Samoa Joe 2 times in a row. That's not logical to me. All right. So I like Samoa Joe getting the title back, but I'll tell you something. That match was violent.
Yeah.
It was, I usually don't love the super violent matches. I really liked it, and it was really violent.
Yeah. Yeah. That's Darby's. I mean, it's weird. Like, it seems like people accept that Darby is actively trying to kill himself because he's small or something. But like every time he fights, it's like what I said about Kenny, but Darby takes it to a whole other level. It's like Darby thinks he's in CZW, like the deathmatch company. Yeah. Like it's like Darby thinks that he's always in that, and that if he's going to be, the only way he can get on TV is if he kills himself every time. This is what it feels like.
Got to get a Darby Allin, Nick Gage match. Isn't that his name?
Yeah.
Nick Gage, the king of the death
Nick
match.
Gage. Yep. That's what Moxley did for a while too. Moxley. You know what? It is what I guess you're right. I didn't think of it that way. It's a TV title, so it's going to change hands.
Could change hands.
But I'm happy Wardlow's back. I'm just happy Wardlow's back. I love.
Oh
Wardlow.
man, I mean I know. Look, it was part of the gimmick. They cut his hair, but man, I like him better with the hair. You know, It is what it is. But
yeah. But I love Wardlow. I think he's a star, and I'm glad he's back. And him and Joe is a good feud. So it's fine. The one thing that I gotta address from Dynamite, and we don't have to go too long into it, right? But if Vince McMahon was still in charge of creative, and Roman Reigns was the champion, and out of nowhere, this guy called Takashita shows up on Raw. And then a month later, he's getting a title shot on Raw, or not a title shot, a match against the champion on Raw. And you had no explanation of who he was. You had no explanation of why you're supposed to care about him. And you had no explanation other than the fact that he fought Daniel Bryan in an eliminator match or something as to why he's feuding with Roman Reigns. Everyone would be crushing Vince McMahon. They'd say,
but you know what?
He's pushing this guy down our throat. We don't even know. But for some reason, because Tony Khan likes this guy is getting a match against MJF, whose whole thing is he doesn't fight. It's got to be a big deal. He only fight. And now Takashita, who Zaz, where's Takashita come from?
I mean, is he from New Japan?
I don't know. It's a good question.
Well, look,
they don't talk about it.
Look, what you're saying is right, but AEW does, they pride themselves on being the wrestling show where the fans know all about all the guys. That's their thing. I know,
dude. I watch New Japan stuff. I don't watch Pro Wrestling Noah, who maybe that's where he's from. But if it was Tanahashi or Okada or Kota Ibushi or Jay White or Tama Tonga or Tongaloa or the big dude from the book. There's so many guys that if they showed up, I'd be like, holy shit, that's cool that he's fighting MJF. I don't know who this guy is.
They pride themselves on their fans knowing everything. That's their thing.
You got to be hard. I guess you got to be. I mean, I don't know who the guy is. But you know what? But you know what? It's fair. But why MJF? I'm not saying people would be mad that Vince was pushing a guy like this. They would be mad if they were pushing him into a shot with the champion.
Yeah.
He's at the top of the card now, and I still don't know who he is.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.